Ah, time to relax.
Professor Hanneman, do you have a moment to talk?
Of course, Miss Dorothea. Whatever is on your mind.
I heard you were once a member of the nobility, and you surrendered your title to come here.
Indeed, I was a noble once. Why are you so curious about that?
I knew there was something noble about your speech and your perfect manners. You're always impeccably dressed, too, and you have a certain pride about you. What interests me is that you threw it all away. Why?
I threw nothing away, child. In fact, by stepping away from its trappings, in my heart I feel closer than ever to the true meaning of nobility.
How so?
Consider this. At its inception, the concept of nobility assumed that the greatest among the populace would rise to power. In my mind, I believe that means those who value knowledge, those who strive for more and wish to protect and guide their fellow man. However, in practice, nobility often serves to keep those deemed commoners down, segregated from those who, by chance, were born to a noble family. That is one of the reasons I decided to leave that nonsense behind and dedicate myself to the study of crests. Though I have abandoned my position, in my mind it was to pursue what I consider to be a truly noble pursuit, that of knowledge.
I see. Well, you're definitely a noble in that sense of the word. To pursue such admirable ideas without regard for your social position. How wonderful.
Pardon?
Oh, it's nothing. I was just very moved by your words.
Ah, well, I'm quite pleased to hear you say so.
Professor Hanneman, how unexpected.
Hello, Miss Dorothea. There is something I would like to ask you, should you have a moment.
And whatever would that be, Professor?
Ah, it's just some rumor I heard about your prejudice against the nobility. You remember when you came to me before and we talked about how I used to be noble? I was just wondering what your aim was.
To clarify, I only hate nobles who are obsessed with their status. You're not that kind of man, Professor. I mean that, really. And it sounds like you never were.
I see. But hating nobles obsessed with their status, you must have had some terrible experience in the past. Ah, my apologies. That was rather presumptuous.
No, it's fine. As I'm sure you know, I was a highly praised songstress for a time. Before I was a singer, though, I was an orphan. And before that, I was the daughter of a noble's maid.
My goodness! From an orphan to a renowned songstress. That is quite a life you have led, Miss Dorothea.
Well, I don't remember much of my early years. My father was never there, and my mother was driven out of the noble house where she worked. Before long, she fell ill. I was always alone, and I lived in the alleys of the imperial capital, just trying to survive from one day to the next.
I see.
Eventually, after I became a singer, I met the nobleman that I think is my father.
Oh.
He'd had a child with a maid, but the child didn't have a crest. So he threw them both away. Those were his very words. I can't prove that he really was my father, but I suppose it doesn't matter. He didn't know who I was. And when he flirted with me, my feelings were something beyond fury. I was dumbfounded. In truth, I felt that way about all of the nobles who flocked around me, yet would just as easily have tossed me away should it better suit them.
You have my most heartfelt of apologies, Dorothea. I am afraid my curiosity has opened old wounds. Sadly, it is undeniable that the nobility is full of such terrible people. Perhaps even myself.
Professor?
Oh, it is nothing. just lost in a memory of my own. Just know that I will do my part to ensure that you always know kindness in this world.
Thank you.
Dorothea, my dear, you must be tired from the extended fighting. May I get you anything?
Thank you, Professor Hanneman, but I'm fine.
You don't appear fine. Make sure not to overexert yourself. The war is not yours alone to fight. You have friends to rely on. We are here for you, always.
Thank you, but I really am fine. It's nice to know you're always thinking of me, though.
Well, of course. You're like a...
Like a what?
Nothing. You're a very good friend. That's all. And once the war is over, I want to be sure you have a pleasant life.
Is that so? It sounds like you're getting a little ahead of yourself, planning for the end of the war.
Ahead of myself? No, I don't think so.
Oh? You sounded like you were building up the courage to give me something. Something, small and round and ring-shaped?
Uh-huh. A ring, you mean? Well,
Oh, no. Am I wrong? I'm so embarrassed. I misunderstood.
Oh my! That's what you were thinking. I've misled you. I see now I phrased things just all wrong. I had no other intentions, I swear. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
I could forgive you if you proposed properly. You got me excited, you know?
But I haven't.
It's okay. I'm just teasing. Don't look so scared.
Teasing? Ah, well, of course.
It's nice just to know you care about me. Maybe we should talk more about the future in the future. How's that sound?
Why, it sounds lovely. Quite lovely.